First Alert Weather Severe Weather Update.
It's currently 3:41 on this Thursday afternoon. I want to give you a quick update on the severe storms that we have in southern Oklahoma. The risk still remains here right now. Getting some reports of some very large hail that is falling just southeast of Wynnewood. Here's Buck. There's Storm Command, there's Chris Lee, and there is some large hail right now just northwest of Sulphur, up to golf ball size hail with this. At this current track, this will likely stay just a mile or two just north of the town of Sulphur. But if you are in between Roff and Sulphur, here's a hail core right now that's going to be northeast of Ouachita. Right now, storm not rotating a lot, but there is still some spin that is going to be very close to Sulphur. So we'll keep a close eye on the tornado risk here. Again, right now, it is not tornado warned, but we are seeing at least some signs of rotation very close to the town of Sulphur. Big hail, however, just west of Buck right now. So track to the east, it heads into Roff at 3:58, Fitztown at 4:15, and then Ada at 4:18. Right now, these storms moving to the east at about 40 miles per hour. So once again, here is Chris, there is Buck, there is Michael. Severe thunderstorm warnings. We have a handful of those right now in southern Oklahoma and going into North Texas. We had one tornado warning that was issued about an hour ago. That expired about 30 minutes ago. It's the same storm right here as this cold front continues to drop down to the south. It is getting up and underneath of these storms, and that is helping to disrupt the wind field just enough to bring down the rotation, but it's not zero just quite yet. So once again, pocket of rotation very close to Sulphur. Also watching a few other storms that are going to be down in southern Oklahoma that are lifting up to the northeast. Lots of bright colors on the radar this afternoon. But right now, when it comes to severe weather, that is continuing to get pushed farther and farther to the south as our cold front drops down to the south. So large hail here. Also finding large hail just east of Ringling. Watching that storm move up to the northeast here. That will make its way towards Springer, Turner Falls over the next 30 minutes. And that warning goes until 4:30. So Springer at 4:14, Turner Falls at 4:22, Davis and Ouachita at 4:30. Now for these towns right here, Davis and Ouachita, cold front's already made its way through town, so the risk for severe weather would be coming down as that storm moves up to the northeast. Again, if you step outside and it feels cold, temperatures in the 40s, your threat for severe weather is very low. If it still feels warm, like we're seeing down in southern Oklahoma, 70s, then your threat for severe weather and even a tornado risk will still continue. So we'll continue to watch it closely. Still finding at least this storm rotating just a bit near Sulphur and Hickory on the northeast side of Sulphur. You can see inflow coming into the storm as this storm right here is just barely above or just barely ahead of the cold front here. So putting a track to the northeast with this at about 40 miles per hour. Hickory at 3:54 and then down towards Stonewall at 4:26. Let me check in with Buck real quick if I can. Buck, we are seeing, at least on our radar, and we've been getting some reports here of some pretty large hail just west of you. We'll get back out the Buck in just a second. So, but again, this is going to be the hail core right here, just east of Chigley here and just north of Sulphur. Okay, Buck, out to you we go. Buck, watching some very large hail just west of you. Buck, give us an update on what you're seing near north of Sulphur.
It just started hitting us before we pull forward here. We're in right now. We have a good view of this wall cloud, and we can see some little but yeah, that hail was right on our tail end. I'm going to estimate what was hitting us was a little bit less than a little bit less than dime-size hail when we started to pull away from it. So, yeah, it's right behind us, and we're in a good spot to report any large hail back to you.
Okay, we see you there right now near the town of Dulberg here. That is going to be north of Sulphur. So we'll continue to watch this one real closely. Again, right now, 3:45, severe thunderstorm warnings. There are some signs of spin along the leading edge of the storm, but right now, Sulphur, that threat is now just barely east of town. Davis, the risk is improving for you as well. And otherwise, across the metro, the PM commute's about to begin. And if you're headed southbound, it is going to be very wet as you make way from downtown OKC down in the Cleveland County. Keep it with KOCO 5 News. We'll bring you the first alert.